through a lot of things of my, my love for the ocean, the sea, nature, the power of it, the respect for it, all of that has come into play because of Jaws. And what wound up happening at first was, like I said, a lot of shark hunts, but then a lot of conservatism, especially in Cape Cod Bay, Martha's Vineyard, in that area, to the point where now we have a shark problem, a real shark problem. We had a person killed off Cape Cod last September. We had numerous shark attacks now because they've stopped hunting the sharks. More and more seals have come in closer to land. I'm sure that overfishing and all that stuff over time anyway kind of draws the sharks closer. So you're seeing more and more shark attack stories than you ever have in our lifetimes. But it's a real problem now in and around Cape Cod and the islands. It really is.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about Jaws. If people want to find you out there on the internet, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter occasionally at Boston SCPO. You can hear me on Standard Orbit, part of the Trek FM network, and on General Quarters, part of the United Federation of Podcasts, absolutely made and produced by the four greatest human beings to ever podcast. So it's a lot of fun.
Yes, we are the Jaws franchise of podcasters, guys. I'll be Jaws the Revenge if it makes you feel better.
That's a very accurate classification.
Yeah, very good. And Brandon, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. You can find me on Trek FM with Warp 5, which is all about Star Trek Enterprise. We just had a great episode release. Actually, we just recorded it. It won't be out for a couple weeks, where we had Tom Elliott from The Twilight Zone, and we talked about The Exorcist. So tune into that. It was a really good discussion that's coming out in just a couple weeks. And you can find me, I think that's pretty much it right now. I think that's it. Is that it? That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Sure, let's go with that.
Zach, where can people find you when you're not taking your wife's pot roast and hooking it and throwing it off the dock, trying to catch yourself a shark?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Even little scenes like that with nothing characters.
Masterpiece.
Just
that
great
scene
moments.
Is so amazing. I had to get it in. I even forgot it in my recap, but I want to talk about it because I love that scene so much because it is so believable that two dudes would be like, I'm going to steal my wife's Christmas roast and try and catch me this thing on this rickety old duck. They have no idea what they're doing. Believable.
That was a tense scene too. But anyway, yes, as for me, you can find me on Twitter at MooreOnZach. That's MooreOnZach. I'm also the host of my own podcast, Always Sold on to Smallville, where we cover each and every episode of the Young Superman show. You can find us on Twitter at Always Smallville with one S. I'm also host of Standard Orbit as well, over on the Trek FM podcasting network. We talk about all things old and new Captain Kirk and the Enterprise. You can find us on Twitter at Trek FM.
Well, that's all we've got for you guys tonight. But until next week, when we cover Jaws 2, we're going to need a bigger mic.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a drink about an hour ago, and I think it's gone to my head. Oh, land of sea.
We're terrible.
Yes.
We'll stick to podcasting.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.